Okay, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to do one more addition and subtraction with finding common denominators. Okay, so we're going to do one that's a little bit harder. We're going to do 5 over 14n squared plus 54n minus 8 minus 2 over 3n. Okay, so the very first thing that I notice is that my first fraction has a trinomial that looks a little scary, and then my second fraction has a monomial. So what we need to do is we need to factor as much as we can so we can find our common denominator. All right, so let's take this first fraction on the left. I have 5 divided by 14n squared plus 54n minus 8. So what's going to happen is I notice that all of those numbers are even. So I'm going to try to make my number smaller by factoring out a 2. Now, that doesn't help me reduce the fraction, but what it does is it makes the numbers a little bit more manageable when I start guessing and checking. Okay. All right, so again, we're not going to concentrate on the process of factoring too much. So I need to think of two numbers that multiply to a negative 28, but then add to a positive 27. So if you use the box method, you would probably use 28 and negative 1, and then factor by grouping. And there we go. All right. Okay, now personally, I think it's a little easier to find a common denominator when your fractions look like this than when they're just pure numbers. So my common denominator would be 2 times 7n minus 1 times n plus 4 times 3n. Okay, now we can make that look a little bit better by saying 6n, 7n minus 1 times n plus 4. Okay, so now, okay, all right, what we need to do is we need to think about what each fraction needs. All right, so the one on the left needs a 3n. Okay, and then the one on the right needs a 2. It needs a 7n minus 1 and an n plus 4. So I'm going to kind of center my work so I can have a little bit more room. All right. So 5, 2, 7n minus 1, n plus 4. Now remember, we just need to multiply it by what it needs. So it needs a 3n. Top and bottom, just a fancy form of 1. Then we're going to go minus, okay, and then 2 over 3n. And then this guy needs a lot more stuff. It needs a 2. It needs a 7n minus 1. It needs an n plus 4. And remember, this is just 1. All you're doing is you're multiplying by 1. You're making it look different. Okay? So now we're going to simplify. So let's see. I would have 15n over 6n. And notice I'm not multiplying out very much. I'm just kind of keeping it kind of simple. Now I'm going to make, let's see, 2 times 2 is 4. Now another trick that you might want to do, since this is a subtraction. All right, so let's make this a plus, and then let's put the minus on the 2. So like that, 2 times 2. And then, 2 times 2 is 4. So that way I can keep track of the negative. It just makes life easier. Like that. Okay, now here's kind of, here's kind of the weird part. Okay, I'm going to add the tops. Okay, I'm going to have to do some simplifying. Most of the work is going to be simplifying. I'm going to leave the bottom alone because this is addition and they have common denominators. So check this out. So it's going to be 15n plus a negative 4 times 7n minus 1 n plus 4 all over 6n 7n minus 1 n plus 4. Okie dokie. All right, so now I need to simplify the top. Okay, this is where mistakes will happen because you have to do 2 sets of multiplication. You have to do a distribution of binomials, and then you have to distribute a negative 4. So go slow. Try not to skip steps. Okay, so we're going to hold the 15. I'm going to hold off on that negative 4, and then I'm going to distribute. Okay, so 7n squared. Now you should know what this is, but if you don't, just do it over. Because this is a lot. It's a long problem. Lots of steps. And the more steps you have, the more room for a misstep. So now we're going to distribute that negative 4. Okay, you can simplify the inside of the parentheses first. It's up to you. Let's see, 4 times 28 is, let's see, 4 times 132. No, wait, 112. Let's check. I don't trust myself this morning. There we go, 112. And then 4 times 4 is a 16. And again, we're not really touching the denominator unless we have to. Like that. Okay, cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms, and then hopefully it'll be done. So negative 28 n squared. Let's see, 15 minus 112 plus 4. Negative 93 plus 16 all over 6n n minus 7, or excuse me, 7n minus 1 n plus 4. Okay, so that was a fairly involved subtraction of rational expressions. Notice that it's a lot of steps. Okay, so these problems are completely doable. They just take a really long time. Okay, all right. Have a great day, guys.